Hiyo, what's good, y'all? It's your favorite nocturnal truth-teller, Bandit, and welcome back to Trash Talk, the only show where we rummage through the garbage of history and find the golden nuggets of wisdom, and maybe a few moldy secrets while we're at it. Now, let me ask you something. What do you get when you mix a six-name Italian, some postage stamps, and a dream so big it broke banks? You get the original fraud father, Charles freaking Ponzi. Yup, the man, the myth, the maestro of manipulation. So legendary in the scamming game, they didn't just throw him in jail. They named the crime after him. I mean, come on. That's like committing a robbery so iconic, the cops start calling it a bandit job. Let's get into it. This dude wasn't just hustling. He was opera-level scamming. Drama, finesse, betrayal, international postage rates, you name it. Now, Charles Ponzi was born in northern Italy in 1882 with a name that sounded like someone sneezed during a baptism. Carlo Pietro Giovanni Guglielmo Tebaldo Ponzi. 6 names. That's not a birth certificate, that's a whole paragraph. And let me tell you, Charles had expensive taste and broke boy energy. From day one, dude said, spending money seemed like the most attractive thing on earth. Big mood, until the bill hits. He dropped out of university with no degree, no money, and apparently no plans except to finesse life itself. So like many Italians in the early 1900s, he dipped to America, land of opportunity, or in his case, land of opportunistic scams. Now here's where it gets spicy. My raccoon instincts always say, watch the hands, not the face. And Ponzi? He was slick with the hands. Worked odd jobs, got caught stealing, burned more bridges than a medieval siege. Eventually, he slid into Canada and got a gig at a bank for Italian immigrants. Sounds wholesome, right? Wrong. Turns out the bank owner was already running a Ponzi scheme before Ponzi even got his claws in. Talk about inspiration. Imagine walking into your first job and your boss says, "Forget ethics, kid. We steal legally here." That bank crashed harder than a raccoon in a garbage bin, and Ponzi, naturally, ended up in jail for 3 years after being caught with a fake check. Then came a stint smuggling immigrants back in the States, another 2 years in jail. At this point, the man spent more time behind bars than a zoo animal. But did our boy Charles go straight after that? Did he learn his lesson? Of course not. This man looked at prison like a networking event. He came out with new connections, bigger ideas, and probably a whole pitch deck in his back pocket. And here comes the crown jewel of garbage ingenuity, the postage coupon hustle. Now y'all listen closely, because this is where Charles went from local crook to international scammer. Back in the early 1900s, there was a thing called an international reply coupon. Basically, you'd send someone a coupon so they could write you back without paying postage. Cute, right? Kind of like the OG prepaid DMs. But Ponzi looked at that and said, wait a minute, there's a price difference between countries. I could buy cheap coupons in one country and redeem them for more expensive postage in another. That's called arbitrage. And also called, I'm about to scam y'all blind. He convinced people he had this revolutionary investment opportunity. Promised them 50% returns in 45 days. Yeah, 50% in 45 days. That's not a return, that's a resurrection. Yet people were lining up like it was Black Friday. And why? Because humans, no offense, love a shortcut. Fast money is catnip for people who never ask questions. But here's the kicker. There weren't even that many coupons. The whole thing was a complete lie. There was no investing, no shipping, no nothing. It was a full-on house of cards funded by hope, hype, and other people's savings. Sound familiar? Yeah. Because the scam never left. You ever heard of Bernie Madoff? Yeah, he just recycled Ponzi's greatest hits. Same scam, different suit. Even crypto rug pulls and influencer pump and dumps. Same garbage, new glitter. So let's ask the real question. Why do people still fall for this? Because hope is profitable. When folks feel left behind by the system, they get desperate. And desperation doesn't fact-check. Let's break down some behaviors real quick. Overconfidence bias. People believe they can outsmart the system, even when they don't understand it. Social proof. If your cousin, your barber, and your Uber driver all say it's a good investment, you'll throw in your rent money. Fear of missing out. FOMO. Ain't nothing scarier than watching everyone else get rich without you, even if it's fake. Ponzi knew all this, played people like a fiddle in a Wall Street subway. But remember, every scam is a mirror. It reflects greed, hope, naivety, and sometimes just straight-up laziness. Now, don't get me wrong, scammers gonna scam. But part of the problem? Y'all let them. Ask yourself, would you have fallen for it? Be honest, if someone said, give me $1,000 and I'll turn it into $1,500 by next month, and showed you someone else who just cashed out, you might slide that money right over. That's how the game goes, until it doesn't. Charles Ponzi eventually got caught, served more time, got deported, died broke, but his legacy still alive in scamming. So here's the lesson, fam. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably has a pyramid-shaped back end. Protect your coins, question the hype. And next time someone flashes big returns with no receipts, run, don't walk. That's it for today's Trash Talk, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell like you're slapping a scammer. Drop a comment below. What's the wildest scam you've ever heard of? I might just feature it next episode. Until next time, stay sharp, stay skeptical, and never trust a man with 6 names and 0 morals. Bandit out.